Let's just dive right into this explainer. The last voice note, deconstructing the mystery. So I highly recommend lowering the lights for this one because today we're looking at an absolute masterclass in atmosphere. We're breaking down some incredibly sparse but highly evocative narrative fragments to see exactly how a writer can build this deeply claustrophobic mystery using, well, almost nothing at all. As we go through this, I really want you to notice how much heavy lifting your own imagination is forced to do. By withholding information, this story literally turns us into active participants in the suspense. It's a brilliant technique, and we're going to break it down beat by beat. We start right off by grounding the whole thing in this visceral, universal sense of dread. Scene 1, night, 2:13 a.m., a dark, messy, and shadowy bedroom. Now, you know that exact feeling, right? Waking up in the dead of night, the world is completely silent, your defenses are totally down, and you're stuck in that hazy space between dreams and reality. The source specifically notes the room is dark, messy, and shadowy. That messiness? It's absolutely crucial. It creates irregular shapes in the dark. A pile of clothes on a chair that suddenly looks like a person, a half-open closet door. It deliberately isolates our character, Allie, stripping away the safety of daylight and the comfort of order. We are right there in that pitch-black room with him, feeling that sudden, chilling vulnerability. And then, right in the middle of that eerie silence, technology intrudes. A notification appears. Hamza, voice message, followed by a tense, eerie silence. I mean, nobody gets good news at 2:13 a.m., for sure. There's no preview text, no context whatsoever, just a name and a medium that absolutely demands your attention. The source highlights a tense, eerie silence right after this notification is. It's the ultimate calm before the storm. The digital world just crashed into Allie's physical isolation and brought this unspoken, heavy dread with it. You can almost feel the air freeze as he just stares at that tiny notification. Let's actually walk through the exact sequence of Ollie's escalating terror because it plays out like a perfectly directed suspense film. First up, he's lit only by his phone's blue glow. This is such a brilliant visual anchor. It creates these harsh shadows on his face and just plunges everything outside that tiny radius into total pitch blackness. Second step, Ollie whispers in fear, confused and anxious. Now, think about it. Why on earth would you whisper if you're alone in your bedroom? Well, instinctively, he feels like he isn't alone. And finally, we get a close-up of Ollie's shocked face, his eyes reflecting the screen. We don't even hear the ominous tone of the voice message ourselves yet. We only see its horrifying impact mirrored right there in his wide, terrified eyes. Okay, and this is exactly where the story pulls the rug completely out from under us. Just as we're locked onto the digital dread of the phone, the physical environment shifts. We get a shadow distortion, a subtle anomaly within the room's darkness, hinting at something unseen. This unseen anomaly is our core mystery box. The threat isn't just trapped in an audio file anymore. It's manifested in the actual room. That messy, shadowy bedroom we talked about, it's literally weaponized against him now. It's a masterful pivot. The terror doesn't just jump out, it subtly warps the darkness right at the edge of his peripheral vision. So naturally, we have to ask, but how does Ollie's isolated terror connect to the wider world? The story doesn't just leave us trapped in that bedroom. It suddenly pulls the camera way back, the narrative accelerates, and the stakes get unbelievably high. This next fragment brilliantly shows how the scope of the whole mystery suddenly blows up. We get this single, incredibly potent sentence. When Ion asked why, the villagers exchanged frightened glances. Now, we don't know who Ion is. We don't even know what he's asking about. But that reaction, it tells us everything we need to know. We jump from one guy paralyzed in his dark bedroom to an entire community paralyzed, presumably in the safety of daylight. This isn't just an isolated incident. It's a shared, unspoken trauma. The silence of the villagers here perfectly mirrors that tense silence in Ollie's room, but now it's spreading like wildfire. To really wrap our heads around how this works, we need to compare the two types of fear we're seeing here. On one hand, you have Allie's fear. It's distinctly modern. It's isolated, technological dread. He is totally alone, bathed in this isolating blue glow, dealing with a shifting shadow. On the other hand, you have the villager's fear. This one is traditional, it's primal. It's collective, interpersonal dread shared instantly through frightened glances. The absolute genius of the source is how it forces these two completely different experiences of fear to orbit the exact same undefined mystery. Whatever this threat is, it cuts through the boundaries of both our digital anxiety and our community panic. So the big takeaway is how these tiny narrative fragments interlock to completely immerse us in a world paralyzed by the unseen. Let's look at the atmosphere builders again. You've got the 2:13 a.m. isolation,
the intrusion of Hamza's ominous message, the sheer claustrophobia of eyes reflecting that blue glow. Then, those subtle room shadow distortions. And suddenly it expands to an unanswered why from Ayan, ending with those collective frightened glances. Just 6 puzzle pieces. No heavy exposition, no lengthy villain monologues explaining the master plan. Just pure, unadulterated atmosphere, so sharp that our brains are practically forced to fill in the gaps with whatever scares us the most.
Which brings us right to the ultimate question, the absolute mystery box at the center of it all. What exactly was in Hamza's message that could distort the shadows of a bedroom and cause an entire village to freeze in fear? The sources never tell us. And honestly, that's what makes it so incredibly captivating. By never showing the actual monster, the threat stays infinite. It becomes tailored perfectly to whatever terrifies you personally. So I want you to think about that isolating blue glow, those shifting shadows, and those silent, terrified villagers. What do you think Ali heard at 2:13 a.m.? Keep that thought with you. Keep analyzing, keep questioning, and thanks for exploring this mystery with me.